What happens when you pit Jason Statham against a prehistoric shark for a second time? Well, pretty much the same thing. Welcome back to Wrestling with Horror. My name is Andrew Dreamer. As always, I'm here to talk about professional wrestling, horror movies, and look at all the ways that they intersect, connect, and everything in between. Today we are finishing up our journey into the depths, our adventure below the surface of the water. This is going to be the last video, a part of our series titled SOS Summer of Sharks. And I'm really excited to go out with this film. It's a brand new film. It just came out actually yesterday as I'm filming this. Now, I released a spoiler-free review on the channel, and, well, now I want to take a deep dive into the MEG 2, The Trench. Before we get going on the plot of this film, however, I want to say thank you to everybody who subscribed to the channel. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, go ahead and do it. We're on the road to 500 subscribers, and I am grateful for all of the support. So hit that button, turn your notification bell on, hit that thumbs up button on this video, and also, if you're looking to save 20% off of your order at redcon1.com, use the code AndrewDreamer at checkout. You'll get 20% off. Get yourself some cool clothes, get some supplements, make yourself feel better, and be always ready to achieve that highest state of readiness. So we're jumping right into the plot of this film now. In this film, Jason Statham and his crew are going down below the Mariana Trench. They're going through the thermocline, and they're going to do some more research, and they have upgraded submersibles now. And when they get down there, they find out that there is another group who are doing some nefarious things down there. There's a guy from Jason Statham's past. He's got these people, they're mining these minerals and these crystals and things down below the surface. This film does see the return of Jason Statham, like I said, as Jonas Taylor. It also sees the return of Cliff Curtis as Mac and Paige Kennedy as DJ, and we also get Mei Ying back again. Unfortunately, her mother is not in this film because she has passed away a couple years ago. So now, Jonas is her guardian, but we also have another character from her family, her uncle. He is the finances behind the company now that his father has passed away and his sister has also passed away. So he is controlling these things. He is merging with this other company, and we're going to learn a little bit later on that the person that he's merging with is actually the one who is in charge of all of the nefarious things going on below the surface of the water. Now, as I said in the intro, a lot of this movie is the same thing, but there are a few different aspects. They do a lot underwater. They do a lot down at the bottom of the trench. There's an extensive sequence where they are in these new suits and they're walking through the water, like at the very bottom. And this is kind of one of my, not really an issue, it's more of just a nitpick, but it does look more like they are walking in outer space than it does below the water to me. It just, I don't know, it took me out of it a little bit. One thing I will say about this movie is they do a good job about raising the stakes. Instead of being one or two Megs that they are trying to take down in the previous film, in this film there are 3 Megs, and when they're actually down in the trench, there's a lot more than 3. But down at the bottom of the trench, they find this research facility, and it's kind of the home base where the people are mining for these crystals, and so they have to blow the station up to get out. And they've already lost some of their crew on this expedition, but Jonas and Mei Ying and her uncle and another character, they get out, and so they make it back to the surface. But by the time they make it to the surface, they realize that there was a mole at Mana 1, somebody who sabotaged the rescue vehicle and is only in this for the money. And now there is a lot of like mercenaries on the station who are taking everybody hostage. And so this leads to Mac and DJ having to try to find a way to get around them. And this leads to the beginning of one of my favorite parts of this movie, DJ. They gave him a big upgrade in this film. He has learned to fight. He has a survival kit. He has a gun. He is absolutely prepared for whatever comes his way after the events of the first film. Our heroes, they reconnect with Mac and DJ. They find a way off of the station, and again they realize that during the course of them exploding that research facility, it ripped a giant hole in the thermocline, which allowed several sharks to come through. Now, one thing I haven't mentioned yet is Mei Ying's uncle. Earlier in the film, we saw that he had raised a Meg from a pup, and the Meg's name is Hai Chi. It escapes and it follows them down into the thermocline, but Mei Ying's uncle, he actually thinks that he has a connection with this shark. He's been training it, and he believes that the shark will not hurt him. So Hai Chi is one of the three sharks that we see. For a majority of this film, the sharks are not the biggest threat. It's actually the people. It's actually these people who are just money hungry, who are out there to make a dollar and kill anybody who gets in their way. But it is at this time that Jonas and his crew realize that the Megs are heading for yet another very, very densely populated beach. This time it's called Fun Island. This is kind of where things get into repetition, because that aspect of the film, very much like the first, it is very reminiscent, and it's pretty much the same things, only the sharks eating all the people in the water is not the focus. The focus is the mercenaries and the bad guys, and Jonas and his crew trying to stop them from, well, basically killing them. They finally make it to the beach, and Jonas, he tells Mei Ying to go hide in this watchtower, this lifeguard kind of tower. And of course, she's now 14 at the time. She's rebellious, but not rebellious in like a just disobedient way. She's more rebellious in, these people need help, I'm going to go help them way. So of course she goes out to help them, and that leads to her uncle and Jonas both just risking it all to save her. And another thing that I have not mentioned, and I did that purposely, but another thing I haven't mentioned up to this point is that megalodons are not the only things that came up through the thermocline. There is actually a gigantic squid who wreaks havoc on this beach. It rips this pier apart, and it almost kills Mei Ying's uncle, and it almost kills Mac because it crashes the helicopter that he's flying, and Mei Ying's uncle has to swim out there to try to save him. And it's at this point we've got Jason Statham. He's got these homemade like spears on his back, and he's on this jet ski riding through the water, and we're seeing all this stuff happen. And this is kind of when the sharks kind of take the forefront again. But we also have to get Jason Statham fighting his enemy, this man named Montez, who has just been at their heels every step of the way. This is the man who Jason Statham's character had a past with, and he has brought down before, because in the years between the first Meg and Meg 2, Jonas has been essentially stopping people from doing illegal things to the ecosystem, and this man was one of those people. So he's got a vendetta against Jonas, but of course we know you've got Jason Statham in an action movie. He ain't losing. So he takes care of Montez. He kicks him into the water. He gets eaten by a Meg. When the squid has Mei Ying's uncle dead to rights, literally about to eat this man, to kill him, that's when Hai Chi shows up and literally saves him from dying. And that's actually one of the better parts of this movie. I thought that was a nice touch. And after they kill the other two Megs, Jonas uses the spear to actually blow a hole in one of the shark's heads, and the other one he picks up, and it's very ridiculous. He picks up this helicopter propeller blade, and he holds it there while the shark jumps out of the water, and the shark just comes right down on it. It's completely ridiculous that he could have held this up, but the propeller blade goes right through the roof of the shark's mouth and out its head, and that's how they kill that shark. So all of the bad guys are dealt with. They've gotten rid of all of these weird little dinosaur creature fishes that also came through the thermocline. They are on land. They can swim. They're like they're dinosaurs. Like, honestly, they're dinosaurs. So they've taken care of all of them. And now our characters are in the water. You've got Mac, you've got Jonas, and you got Mei Ying's uncle. They're all in the water. Hai Chi is going straight for them. But Mei Ying's uncle still believes that he has this connection with Hai Chi. So he goes under the water, he starts clicking his little thing that gives Hai Chi a sound, and it's how he trained her. Hai Chi opens her mouth like she's going to eat him, but at the last second she turns away, she swims off into the distance. Hai Chi is gone. So our characters make it back to the beach. They joke about Mei Ying being grounded for a long time, but they have a nice laugh. It's, it is what it is. So that is the plot of Meg 2, The Trench. Now we're going to go straight into the positives for this film. My number one positive is the literal Deus Ex DJ. The man literally has a solution for everything in this film. He can fight, he has guns, he can make bombs, he literally can do it all. And he was one of my favorite characters in this film. He had some genuinely funny lines, and he made this movie a lot more enjoyable for me. Also, this film was a pretty big step up in the action. There were a lot more fight sequences, a lot more just action shots, and they were all shot pretty well, and I was happy with that aspect of the film. Another positive takeaway from this movie was the way that they upped the ante, the way they raised the stakes. Like I said, the introduction of the giant squid and the little dinosaur creatures, it really raised the stakes and made things a lot more dangerous, but also not just the prehistoric creatures, it was also the people. There are a lot more bad guys in this movie, and so you have like 4 or 5 different just enemies trying to kill Jonas and his crew throughout the entire film, and it makes for a lot of tension. The Megs in this film were also a lot bigger. We see them with a lot of like battle scars because they've been down in the trench for so long. This one in particular was just huge, a lot bigger than the Meg from the first film. And my last positive is going to be the relationship between Jonas and Mei Ying. They have a genuine, like almost father and daughter relationship in this film. And I don't know for sure if they said it in the film or not, but it definitely seems like Jonas had married Suyin, and he is now her legal guardian, and he's taking care of her. And I genuinely enjoy their little back and forth. The way he watches over her, protects her, even parents her. There's even a line in the film about him parenting her. And like I said, I just really enjoyed their relationship in this film. Switching over to the negative side of the Meg 2. Now, first and foremost, I thought this throughout the film, and my fiance felt the same way. I think the CGI was a little bit worse than it was in the first movie. Now, the first movie, the CGI wasn't great, but in this film, it seemed worse. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but it definitely seemed like it was just a little bit of a step down. Maybe it was because they had a lot more CGI that they had to get done, but I don't know. I just feel like it should be better, not worse. Also, there were some missing characters from the first movie. Not a ton, but, there were some characters that I kind of liked from the first movie that I wish would have been back. Suyin especially, I don't know the reason that she was not in this film. Maybe it was money, maybe it was something else. I don't know, but I wish that those characters had been in the film, because I think it would have made things feel more linear, and just everything would have worked a little better for me. Like, the stakes would have been just that much higher having these people that we cared about return more, not knowing whether they're going to survive or not. And like I've said earlier in the video, it was essentially the same plot. I mean, yeah, for a big part of the movie, the sharks were kind of on the back burner. But when you get to that third act, it's pretty much the same thing. Jason Statham taking on sharks. And that's fine. It's an action movie. It's not even really a horror movie at this point. But it's a shark movie, so I'm still covering it nonetheless. And we're finishing off SOS with a bang. It just seemed like the same plot. Let me know what you think about that in the comments. If you've seen the movie already, I'm curious if you thought that this movie was very much like the first one, or if it was enough of a deviation where you were okay with it. And my last little nitpick is going to be that sequence I was talking about earlier, where they were underwater in the suits walking across the ocean floor. Again, I just felt like it looked more like they were in outer space. Yeah, they weren't really like anti-gravity kind of moving, but it just, I don't know, it didn't feel like they were moving through water to me. And again, that's more of a nitpick, but it really stuck out to me when I watched the film, so I have to talk about it. And our last order of business for this video is going to be the rating. On the scale of 1 being the best shark movie ever and 10 being the worst shark movie ever, Meg 2 The Trench is going to be a 4 out of 10. And that is exactly what I gave the first movie. But like I said, it felt like pretty much the same movie to me, so it's not really a surprise that it's going to get the same rating. All of that being said, I enjoyed this film. I had fun with it. It was a good time. It was a nice way to spend 2 hours. I was happy that I got to go see it, and I was happy that I got to do this review, and I don't regret watching it. It was fun. So, you know what? At the end of the day, that's all that really matters, right? So that is Meg 2 The Trench. Now, like I said, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done it already. I'm really excited for what's coming up next. My next review is actually going to be for a movie called Pro Wrestlers vs. Zombies. I'm really looking forward to that. Like I said, we're finished with SOS Summer of Sharks now. October is going to be a really big month for this channel. I'm really looking forward to that. We've got a lot of big things coming up. SummerSlam, it is tonight. I'm really looking forward to that. Gonna talk about that a little bit. I don't know if I'll do a full review or just maybe a short covering it or talking about a few key moments. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but I'm really looking forward to that. But until next time, my friends, my name is Andrew Dreamer, and this is Wrestling with Horror.